Hang on, let me have a think about it. Is it
Mhm.
because different markets, you wanted to have different resonation on the same product?
Dude, I'm telling you, your observation is spot on.
Mate, I think everything you said, the whole backstory, it's a true definition of an entrepreneur. You were always trying to solve problems.
But I'm curious, have you always been wired that way, or did you just do it stupid a couple times and you thought, I don't want to do that anymore?
What do we all want? We want it to grow.
You don't have to use custom values to make money with high level,
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah.
but just know that eventually it will become your constraint. The constraint inside of high level is custom values.
Yeah, I'm just impressed because I didn't know it does that. Oh, that's cool.
Thank you.
Where from here? Hang on. So,
We could go on and on
mate,
about this.
what are like top three, 2 to 3 like friction points that are slowing them down
Onboarding.
on board? You were showing me that new tool, but you call it Pulse AI.
Right.
And when you wake up and it just sits there on a silver platter and it tells you, hey, he is somebody that you should definitely tap into and you probably be able to close. Am I right?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the High Level Experience podcast. Our guest today is an entrepreneur, strategist, and systems thinker who is obsessed with one thing: removing friction. He spent years in the trenches, from scaling a high-performing supplement brand for gyms across the US to now leading the charge on something even more disruptive, building tools that make high level run faster, smoother, and more profitably for agencies and SaaS founders. His work sits at the intersection of automation, operations, and performance. And if you've ever wanted to scale without chaos, this guy is who you want to hear from. Please welcome to the show, Jason Rule.
I bet. Thanks for having me, and thanks for that amazing introduction. You're so much better at explaining anything I do than I am. So thank you for that.
We've got 90 minutes, so let's dive into that. You went from
Cool.
building a thriving supplement business to building tools for one of the most tech-savvy communities online. What I'm curious, and honestly, like I've been researching, right? I've been looking at it, I'm like, wow, this brings memories because like when I saw your YouTube videos on that supplement company, that's just a whole another Jason. And then it reminded me of my, background because I was in the fitness industry for 8 years. So it was kind of cool. But yeah, what I'm curious is how did you transition from that to now solving problems inside high level? I just can't piece it together. Different
So I've lived a
industry.
few lives. I actually I dropped out of college, I think it was in 95, and started learning marketing, started learning sales, psychology. And my first company actually that I started was in 1998. And it was actually a database company, and it was built for car dealers and realtors. Um, Lo and behold, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was a software as a service. Thankfully, a good friend of mine, his name is Doug Williams in Hayes, Kansas, a brilliant entrepreneur, guided me and kind of mentored me through that just out of his generosity. And he introduced me to a friend of his who was a consultant for Kelly Blue Book. And if anybody remembers 1999, and yeah, I don't know, middle of the year, they started worrying, is this Y2K thing going to be a problem? This gentleman was a technology consultant for Kelly Blue Book. And he asked me to show him what we had. And I did. And he said, what you have here is a template for what every car dealer in the United States should have. So, oh, cool. So I got to give a little bit of backstory, because how do I go from running supplement companies to high level? Because this is my first iteration of business was actually a software as a service. So I ended up doing that. And he said, what you need to do is license this to car dealers. Sold that 2 years later to a telecommunications company. Got into owning GNCs, General Nutrition Centers.
Oh
And
yeah,
then one of
that's
the
a big
problems
franchise.
yep, it is a big franchise. And I learned that I don't like being a franchisee, even though I had them. But one of the problems is I couldn't control the pricing. I couldn't control the qualities and the messaging
Yep.
of the
I
products
was
that
gonna
we
say
sold.
I
So
feel the pain, right?
yeah, yeah.
Franchise
So
model. Yeah.
I actually started 3 years later. I started a supplement company. That supplement company started doing well, and I sold those GNCs after 9 years. And then I stumbled into CrossFit. And I'm not a big guy, and bodybuilders are attracted to bodybuilders. They listen to big humans. And the problem is a big ego involved. Not long ago, I posted up and people kind of resonated with it. ClickFunnels is bodybuilding, and high level is CrossFitters. We respect the people that do the work, right? Now, taking a supplement company that was in GNCs and in the traditional bodybuilding space, that just wouldn't work. So probably the supplement company you came across was one called Driven Nutrition. And that's what we did is I took, because in working with CrossFit gyms, I realized like they don't really know much about running a business when they first start, and they sure don't know how to sell supplements. So one of the first podcasts I went on was how to ethically sell supplements to your members. And
Mm-hmm.
coming from the standpoint of, hey, I used to run gyms, or I used to run GNCs. I used to train people on how to offer supplements and do it ethically and in a long-term business model. Sold those out. So here's how I got into HighLevel. You asked the question, so now you're regretting it. Questions?
I was just going to say there's a really interesting analogy because, and I just want to stay on just a little bit of just diving into that experience of running a
Okay.
supplement company because
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to mention the YouTube channel or whatever, but if you guys find it, you'll see another Jason there, like tons of videos, a lot of videos educating about different products, supplement
Mhm.
products. And I think there's an interesting analogy because like HighLevel has a lot of features and then there's a lot of supplements. There's some commonality there. What goes into marketing a product mix and a particular way of doing it and what works, what
Mhm.
doesn't. And yeah, just what I'm curious to know is when you were doing those videos, what did you find work and how did you find the right way to make resonate the most?
That's interesting. So I'm guessing that the big series of videos you probably watched, we made 3 videos on every single product. So between 2 companies, that was 180 products. So multiply that by 3 videos. The first one, if I
Jeez.
remember right, I mean it's been 6 years since we made these videos, so forgive me. First one was the top 5 questions we get about this product. And then the second one was, how do you take it? And then third one was the science behind the formula, if I remember right. So what we did with that
That's
is,
clever. Hang on, let me have a think about it. Is this
okay.
because you wanted to? This almost sounds like the last one, the science and stuff. It's more for like
Mhm.
left brainers. Is it
Mhm.
because different markets you wanted to have different resonation on the same product?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And dude, I'm telling you, your observation is spot on. I haven't really thought about it, but one of the problems is, and I find myself in these same spots, just in a different industry. For HighLevel, we work with agencies and we solve problems for agencies, but also for the businesses they work with. So we're pretty much camouflaged unless somebody's looking to solve a problem inside a HighLevel, and usually it's the agency that's trying to do it. We're hard to find, right? Because most agencies are white labeled. Dude, that's very insightful. Thank you for sharing that thought. So with the supplement companies that I was at, we taught gyms how to sell products ethically and make a profit. And I was very transparent about that. And what I realized is that the gym owners and the coaches were the boots on the ground. They had to have something that was easy to remember, easy to repeat about the products. So they just had to know enough about the products to be able to remember it. And then if somebody was dealing with a specific problem, they could say, oh, hey, have you considered trying this? And then they could give them the resources that we gave them, their gyms and their coaches, to be able to get trained up on it. So we created a course, a training course that was completely free for all of our gyms as well as our coaches. And at our peak, we were at 2,300 CrossFit gyms across the nation. So that's why we did that, is we wanted to be easy to repeat, easy to remember. And then we wanted to be able to let the supplement nerds, the people that loved that. I mean, you make a 8-minute video about protein. I mean, it gets a little bit boring for most people, but what are the top 5 questions we get about it? That's pretty easy to remember and easy to repeat. So yeah, that's that's probably those videos that you stumbled across. Did that answer that
Yeah.
question? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, that's impressive, mate. I mean, at that kind of scale, did you say 2,500 across the US? That's a lot of CrossFit gyms.
20, yeah, 2,300.
That's a lot of CrossFit gyms. So to be able to
Yeah.
run at that scale, I mean, the idea of educating the coaches, it's obviously very clever because that's the only way how they're going to be the extension of the sales process. But to how do you like run that operation? That probably requires some sort of a system in place, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So that was in the early days. I was using Gmail and Boomerang and being able to send stuff out. And I went to a mastermind and I met a gentleman that decided to take me under his wing. His name is Dobbin Buck, still a dear friend today. He was known as the Wizard of Infusionsoft, as an agency, digital agency. And he started teaching me about, because he at the mastermind, he said, hey, what you do is really interesting. He said, what is your onboarding process? So I started making this list, and said 1, and I wrote it out, 2, wrote it out. He put his hand on top of mine and he said, no. He said, "Is that how you've been doing this?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "No." And he drew this box like this. And he said, "Step one." And then he drew an arrow, and he got through halfway of the box. And my brain instantly exploded, because everything from a system standpoint, I started thinking about, instead of thinking about it from a linear process, then I was able to look at it from a journey process. And I'm a very visual person. So literally just all these ideas exploded. So he started taking me under his wing to teach me a little bit more about that. And then I got into Infusionsoft, of course. Then in order to be able to execute for all of the gyms that we needed on board, then we had to get the coaches trained. So we needed an onboarding system for them. And then we ended up creating a platform that allowed our gyms to actually repurpose our social media content. One of those initiatives was Gym Drive over COVID. So all of that was done inside of Infusionsoft prior to me discovering HighLevel in 2019. I think it was late 18, 19. I actually sat on it for a while because I really didn't see much of a benefit, with the exception of getting rid of Plus This, right? So I didn't have to use SMS and Twilio. But once they started navigating and realizing they're going to go to the workflow builder, I was like, okay, we're going to lean into this hard. So we took everything that we had inside of Infusionsoft Plus This, and then we rebuilt it all inside of HighLevel. And around that time, do you remember MiniChat?
Yeah,
Okay.
still to this day, it's still
Yep.
very powerful.
Still to this day, right? So the early days, Mikhail, the founder of it, like at Traffic and Conversion, the first time he went on stage, he didn't have a logo on his shirt. So somebody took a Sharpie marker and drew an octopus on his shirt. So he actually went on stage with that on his logo. So I was at Traffic Conversion. I'd been inside of messenger bots for quite some time before then. And it was the Wild West, man. You didn't have the 1 in 24. You could just do whatever you wanted. So what I was doing was I was going from Infusionsoft to SMS to MiniChat, and then I would create this circle, including Facebook ad campaigns. So once somebody got to 21 days, in terms of 21 days from the time they purchased a protein, we would start showing them an ad for about 4 days to warm them up. So long story short, when it comes to MiniChat, they used to have this, and maybe they still do. I'm not active in it anymore. They had this very active Facebook community of people telling people how to do things. And there was this rare individual. His name was Ezekiel Volley. And every once in a while you come across those people and they just stand out, they glow. And because what he was doing was people would ask a question. He would not only answer it, but he would provide the second, third level of thought processes to not only the problems they were trying to solve, but the problems that were about to happen if they continued down the path that they were doing. Right. So like when we see those individuals, they glow. So I reached out to him. I think it was in 2018, 19. And I said, "Hey, I found this really cool tool. I think that you would really take off." So I just gave him a free sub account. And I said, "Hey, let it go." And I mean, the dude took like it to a duct of water. And he said, "This is amazing." Started doing all these things. And as we were transitioning from Infusionsoft, I needed HighLevel to do things that it couldn't do. And so Ezekiel started building those things. So fast forward to your question, how do I get from supplements to that? So in 2021, when I sold the supplement companies, I got drawn into business mentorship. And that's where, I focus on the strategy, 20,000 foot. One of the things I tell people all the time is the map is not the terrain. So invariably, the biggest problems that these businesses had could be solved with HighLevel. But all of these different industries that I was then mentoring for, guess what? HighLevel didn't do things that they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, hey, Ezekiel, hey, let's keep building some cool stuff together. So we did. And he came to me one time. Like I've been an entrepreneur for 31 years. And he came to me, and this never occurred to me. He said, "Hey, Jason, all of these things that you're having me make, there's a whole lot of agencies and a whole lot of businesses inside of HighLevel that would buy these things." I was like, "Cool. What do you want to do?" It. He said, "You want to start a company?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So that's the story of how GHL Plugins came to be. Is I needed HighLevel to do things for my business that it couldn't do. And then I got exposed to a lot of other industries, and it needed to do different things.
That's epic.
And then lo and behold, then we look at problems. What are the main problems that agencies deal with? And then we build things for those.
There you go. Shout out to Ezekiel, by the way. He's awesome.
Oh, he's amazing.
So, mate, I think everything you said, the whole backstory, it's a true definition of an entrepreneur, I must say. Like you were always trying to solve problems. That's what it was. It's just, you see a
Hmm.
problem, you're trying to solve it. So GHL plugins, let's talk about it. And for those
Hmm.
of you guys listening, I'm a fan. I've been using your product for how long, right? It's been a good 3 years or something since we started working together. And there's one product in particular, because when you think about systems and scaling, that's kind of, I always like to think that way. I don't know if it's, where does this come from? Like the need to have everything systemized. And I think innately I'm lazy. So innately I'm like thinking, I want to grow a business, but it's going to be done where there's not going to be bigger it goes, more work it requires, right? So I've always been thinking about business in a very systemized way, and which is why I really delved into the snapshot, and I think that's how we come across. But there's one product that you and Ezekiel have developed, which is such a simple thing. Again, custom values. You're trying to set them up, and you have to go settings, custom values, and to click those three damn dots, and then you have to change the value, and then hit save. Then you wait until that little spinning thing disappears, and that's like, the last time I timed it was like 8 seconds. And you might think, oh, what are you on about? It's just 8 seconds. Well, if you're setting up a snapshot and there's 200 values to do, it gets pretty annoying pretty quickly.
Right.
So yeah, so do you want to tell the guys? I mean, we can start with custom values, but there's a whole range of things. But now would be a good time if we just delve into the product a little bit and just tell the guys, yeah, what it's about.
We can. First, I want to dissect what you said. Is that fair? Can
Yeah,
we go
yeah,
down? Can we go down one of those things?
yeah, 100%.
So one of the things I'm wondering, you had mentioned building something to scale, and you had said you're wired in such a way. I'm paraphrasing. You're wired in such a way that if it's inefficient, and I can't remember exactly what you said, but you said it very well. And I wondered if you think that way. I wonder two things. Have you always thought that way, or have you experienced enough pain through, like you said, you've been an entrepreneur for a long time? What I found is if somebody's just new to the entrepreneur, they're perfectly fine because they don't realize the access of time amplifies the pain that's created by doing something inefficiently. So I'm wondering if you're either wired to where you just always did it that way, or you did it that way enough times you thought, that's really stupid. I don't want to do that again. And
Okay.
agencies that work with custom values, yeah, you can do it. And it is. I mean, it's about an 8 to 10 second cycle. And if you've got 200 or 300 custom values, now the problem is because the access of time amplifies the pain, right? So if you only sell one or two a month or one or two a week, it's not that big of a deal. But if you start selling two or three a day, you're gonna get to the point, and I've dealt with this with agencies. They dread when a client buys because then they have to deliver and they have to onboard it. So we'll dive into that. But I'm curious, have you always been wired that way, or did you just do it stupid a couple times and you thought, I don't want to do that anymore? Because that's me. That's how I'm built. I've done it the hard way. I've used brute force and burnt myself out, and that's also where this gray hair comes from.
I I'm not really good with. I'm trying to get better, but I don't think I'm still there. Like just generally not really good with like leadership and like leading people and managing people. And so if I can avoid it, I want to have a business where I don't have employees. Sounds really odd. When I was a PT, I was just running my
Interesting.
fitness business. I was running my boot camps. I had 2 locations, plus I did
Mm-hmm.
personal training 1-to-1. And so when you think about fitness business, when you're doing 1-to-1 personal training or doing a group exercise out in a park, you always have to like prep your program. You get somebody sign up for your program, so there's a bit of an onboarding. And very quickly I realized, like, in order for me to stay as lean as possible and just continue to run this as a one-man band, I have to be like ultra dialed in with my processes and systems using tons of templates. But that's, I don't know, like, I've always been like that. Like, it's almost like a cheat code. And going back to what I said earlier,
Right.
I'm just like genuinely lazy. I hate doing anything that's repetitive, which is why I cannot ever be an employee. I just hate, if somebody says do this and that's what you're going to do for every day. Yeah, that's just super boring.
Right.
I can't. I don't know if it's like maybe some
That's interesting.
ADHD or something, but if it's something that I have to do manually like every day, it just does my head in. So I'm always looking at how can I streamline it. So I all the way to a point where I would build these spreadsheets back to 2012. Somebody signs up, I would ask them about their weight, things like that. And then I built this little like a macro calculator, and then it would just spit out how much protein, how much carbs, how much fats, and then just start providing like that. Or like I had these little docs with an onboarding doc for a new client, which was a 5-pager of just basic healthy lifestyle tips. And I just changed the name and little things like that. So that's always been a case for me.
Yeah,
Don't
so
know
that's
what.
how you're wired.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other part of it is if people aren't wired that way, if they are wired that way, high level is super easy if you dive into custom values. The road forks. So you go down the path of people that are incredibly efficient, like you call it lazy. I don't. It's just a high speed, low drag. You want efficiency and you don't want anything that's repetitive. Now, the other side of it is now some entrepreneurs will go down the path and they'll learn things the hard way. Type it
Well,
in.
I think, hang on, just
Well,
before you move into that, I think just to clarify, it's not hating repetitive. I just hate doing things inefficiently, repetitively.
You may not realize this, but for the last 2 years, I've had a secret weapon that has made running my business inside of HighLevel so much easier. You see, there is so much that HighLevel can do, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work to stay up to date with it. And even more so if my customers are asking me questions about it. And this is why I'm excited to announce that our show is officially part of the HLPT Creator Network. This is HighLevel Pro Tools, an organization that I've been using to run support for my customers, as well as give me a ton of awesome epic add-ons that make running, launching, and differentiating my SaaS inside of HighLevel so much easier. And now that they're an official sponsor of the show, they've done something pretty bloody awesome. If you go to hlpt.com/experience, you can get one of their incredible tools absolutely for free. No purchase necessary, just for being a listener on the show. So head over to hlpt.com/experience, grab that free tool, and I promise you this is going to improve the conversion rates on your page. Check out all the other stuff that they offer and tell them that Pete sent you.
You know what's wild? There's a smarter way to grow your agency and help more local businesses without adding more stress. That's what HighLevel does. It's your all-in-one sales, marketing, automation, and AI system. No more duct taping tools together or paying for 20 different subscriptions that barely talk to each other. I've been using it for 5 years with my own white-level version, Stand Out From The Pack, helping Aussie businesses like Dimitri, a Canberra electrician, who now runs his jobs, quotes, calls, and follow-ups with our built-in AI employee. If you're an agency, HighLevel lets you do exactly that. Support your clients in new ways while building stable, recurring revenue every month. And if you're a local business, partner up with somebody who knows your market and your industry. If you're in Tasmania, my mate Jared from Boulder Digital, for example, has you covered. If you're in Canberra, that's my turf. Check out standoutfromthepack.com.au and we'll get you sorted. The point is, there's probably a high-level agency or SaaSpreneur near you. We're seasoned marketers, tech-savvy super nerds who love helping local businesses grow. We're global, we're connected, we're high-levelers. Now, I've got something really special for you guys. I've negotiated an exclusive 30-day HighLevel trial that's double the usual just for you. Sign up your agency through GoHighLevel.com/vid or upgrade your existing plan, and I'll hook you up with over $3,200 worth of bonuses, resources, templates, and snapshots I normally give to my private clients only. So whether you're scaling an agency or leveling up your business, start with the right system. GoHighLevel.com/vid or team up with your local SaaSpreneur and let's make business simple again. One platform, one login, no duct tape, just results.
right, right. I love that. Now, custom values, those are things that they're very efficient, but they do have to be done repetitively, especially if you're selling 2 or 3 a day, right? Because you get a new sub account, you got to be able to populate it. Now, so what most people do is, and that's one of the things that we struggle with when I'm onboarding new people, and I don't do demos anymore, just because, no, I'll just do an onboarding because the truth is you're here to solve a problem, not learn something conceptually. So get signed up, we'll do an onboarding, and I'll just simply show you how to solve your problem in about 30 minutes. And then you don't have to deal with it again at scale. So most of the people that go down the path of the repetitive process of custom values, they standardize them. Now, those are actually ahead of the game, because a lot of people don't use custom values because they're a pain in the butt to update. So the people that don't use custom values are stuck with manual updating websites, funnels, all of that. Like, you have to go in and find that one workflow and change that one phrase. So the people above that, actually, that in terms of the evolution of agency owners that I found, they're using custom values. And then the next step up until us, were they had to hire VAs in order to be able to scale. So they had to hire humans to do this same thing that they were doing. Click search, click edit, enter the value, usually copy and paste, which was coming from a form that the client entered. So you're just manually entering data into one of the most efficient operating systems on the planet in terms of being able to manipulate data and move it into something.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the very first tools that we made that really put us on the map over 3 years ago was the custom values form editor. And we've since made incredible enhancements to that, and even 2 other products that solve custom value problems, or friction is really the right way that I like to look at it, in different ways.
This is a whole topic in itself.
Let it rip, dude.
Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of people, and when it comes to HighLevel and adoption of HighLevel and like selling it and being able to sell, there's this thing where the consensus is, don't try and learn everything. There's a lot of features. Just focus on one thing. When you're selling it, focus on the one quick solution, because it's like you're going to overwhelm people. And I think it's a great advice. Let's say pick reputation management and go after local businesses and sell them this. But there's always but. Like where you really provide like a lot of scale for businesses is automation, because if automation comes efficiency, with efficiency comes more profitability. That's pretty simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
once you start going into automations, that means, automations is something that works on the back end, as always input output. The input is always what happens on the front end. So input is always going to be the front-facing marketing asset, which is a website, which is a funnel, forms, surveys. So that's that. And then what do we all want? Like, why do we all sign up for HighLevel and starting our agencies, or doing a pure SaaS or doing a hybrid? Like, what do we all want? Like, we want it to grow. Ideally, in a monthly recurring revenue model, we want to grow to provide for our families, to provide for better lifestyles. How are you going to increase that revenue? Is by having more sub accounts. And if we know that, yes, foot in door offers initially are great, but that, if you want to provide a lot more benefit for those businesses, you also need to start tapping into what I said: funnels, websites, automations, all that back end. Well, now the only way you're going to be able to do that if you can do it at scale. And so inevitably, you will get down to realizing you have to snapshot things. That's the only way. Once you install a snapshot into sub account, now it's just trickle down, like the next logical step is you realize, okay, well, how do I install the snapshot? And if you haven't built a snapshot with custom values as much as possible, like mostly custom values driven, then you will have to always manually do everything when it comes to setup. That's not scalable. So custom values is a solution to a lot of things. And it's what is interesting though is when I, like me or Michael Pacito, us nerds, we talk about, these custom fields, custom values, and then you're like, don't get bogged down in like, Fit, you're such a perfectionist, you get bogged down to this. Just focus on the front end, guys. Don't overcomplicate things, sell the foot in the door. It's not that advice is bad. It's just like it only solves that initial piece of the puzzle. That's in my view. You kind of have to dissect the whole thing before you really make a commitment to grow your business with this, because, and here's the kicker, right? Because, and me and Michael, we spoke about it too. If you build a snapshot and you haven't, and the way you've engineered the system, the way you've programmed the automations, workflow, and all that, if you haven't built custom values into it so that it's easy to install, and now you go and you start prospecting because, it's sell first and solve it later. Yeah, cool. That's fine. But if you go and sell first and you sell it to 100 businesses and they all sign up, and then you have to fulfill for each one of them custom in a streamlined way without having the custom values to set it up, you're going to be in a world of pain, and your profitability
Mm-hmm.
is going to plummet because it's going to take a lot more man hours to set everything up. So yeah, I mean, it's essential. Nobody talks
Yeah.
about it that much, but it's, if you guys are listening, if you just started HighLevel, like both, both strategies are correct, but it's not that one or the other. It's understanding the full cycle of fulfillment, I would say, is how you then have to make that decision, because like you kind of have to have both. Yeah, what would you say
Yeah.
to that? I don't know.
No, I think that's an important point. And one of the things that, because some people are just built different. Like me, I'm hard headed. I have to learn things the hard way. You are just the opposite in terms of like you consider it lazy. I don't think that. I think it's just incredibly efficient. Now, as I've gotten older, my access of time is getting shorter, right? I know that my workable time, or my ability to be able to think or be able to work at the pace that I currently can, is diminishing over time. I just know that. So I have to be able to get more efficient. But when somebody first gets into HighLevel, they only know what they know, and they don't know what they don't know. And I like conversations like this, because you don't have to use custom values to make money with HighLevel.
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah.
But just know, right? Just know that eventually it will become your constraint. It will become, right? Water flows through the certain path until it hits friction. And so if your constraint, the amount of volume that can pass through a certain thing, or money or clients or anything else, the constraint inside of HighLevel is custom values. So what Vid is talking about is, if you build it right, it may take you a little bit longer in order to be able to learn the systems. And one of the things you can do is just simply build an SMS and email and one web page from nothing other than custom values, right? Our brain learns through repetitions, run up and down that until the neural pathways become entrenched down. And then it's just a road we can walk down. Now, the flip side of that is, if you sell a service, or if you sell a new sub account, you go deliver it. Yeah, you can make it look great. The client will be happy, but then any change that the client's going to want is going to need to be edited by you or your team. VAs are great for that, right? Companies like HL Pro Tools, where they can service the client, they're great for that. Now, the step above that, the ability to be able to let the client be able to edit certain parts of their websites, SMS, and emails, you can give them a form. And that's one of the things that Vit's talking about. You can give them access to just that form, and then they can edit these small parts of your sub account, which comes from snapshot, that's easily scaled, that's duplicated and populated instantly from custom values. So just know that if you're starting inside a HighLevel, you don't have to use custom values. You will, just because it's your simple signature file or your hey first name. Those are custom. Well, that's a custom field, but anything related to the company email address, those are all custom values. And the more that you can get reps with them, the better off that you are. And there are tools like the custom values editor that allow you to be able to instantly make those editable. And in fact, two of the tools that we have just simply preload custom values as soon as the snapshot is deployed. So, but I don't even know if you know that or not. That's a cool tool that we made.
Yes, I do use it. So what I've done is, this explains why I'm taking a little bit longer to go at scale marketing and scale selling, because I haven't approached that phase yet. Is because I've been spending so much time in just getting everything right. I'm one of those perfectionists who like to get it done right, because then I'm really ready and set for scale. So one of the cool things that HighLevel now has is being able to edit all the emails, the system related emails. Social Planner, for example,
Nice.
if you go to connected Social Planner to Facebook, whatever, you get tokens, right? So when the tokens run out, you have to reconnect that account. Now, HighLevel has made it easier, where you can get a notification a few days beforehand. Then there's another set of notifications when it does expire. There's notification email when, if you're doing like an approval for content, you get that email. So there's a lot of notification emails for different areas. There is, for groups, for communities, there's a ton of different notification emails that HighLevel has created, and it's great and works out of the box, but it looks kind of vanilla. I don't like the look and feel of those. So one of the things I did is, and there's 60 of them at this point, is I created a snapshot, which I call like a new SaaS account. And in that snapshot is I created all the emails. They're all pretty. They're all using custom values, but they all have those special links for those areas. But it looks like it's like 100% wide level system. So my customers, they sign up, they get these notifications, emails. It looks like it's coming from stand out from the pack. It looks kind of cool. So that's one area. Then there's also some custom values that every sub account should have, even if there is no snapshot installed, because I don't know yet whether the customer is going to be one of those savvy ones that they want to build something themselves or not. But what I do know is that if they do start on their own, building stuff on their own, and then later decide, hey, could you also, we want to buy one of those snapshots and install it for us. Well, if they start with the same values that the other snapshots are using, it's going to be way easier. So I've basically created a set of values that are like business related custom values. And then when they sign up, I say, look, if you're going to be building anything yourself, here's how you need to understand custom values. Just use that. It's a reference point so that you can globally change it. And when they get it, oh, that's cool. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a lot of pain. Yeah. But also it sets me up, making it a lot easier. So anyway, so I've got this one snapshot that I always drop into every sub account when they sign up. And then I just get my VA attached to link all those new notifications properly. It is an extra step and it might take 3 hours, but it's just, I like to impress people. I like to impress my customers. So it looks like proper, Why am I saying this? Is because that tool you mentioned, where automatically when you create a new sub account, it automatically pushes that in. That's what I've done. Because you've got so it's also the agency custom values. So in my system, when in the sub accounts, my customers, when they get notification from the system, I want the notification to come from, my agency name. In the footer, have some extra PS. If you start with sales, or PS, if you do this, click here, book a call, because I'm always trying to upsell as well. So I know that those values, and there's about 20 of them, they never change. They're like details about our agency. So I want them to be by default automatically always come with every new sub account. So that's the, what do you call that? I don't even know what do you exactly call
CV
it.
initiator. Yeah, the custom values initiator.
CV initiator.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot, by the way. I was thinking maybe I'll share a screen. I'll show you guys like a use case, how I use it, so you guys can get the full picture.
Beautiful.
So let me.
Great idea.
Right. So we've got one system.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Here we go. So let's do an entire screen here. All right. So this is the right page here. So we got this one system that I built called a reputation management system, which when customers sign up, they go and they sign up for. This is our landing page. So this is our white label SaaS here in Australia, stand out from the pack that I built. This is built on a high level, by the way. So if anybody's got any doubts that you can't build nice pages, you can definitely do that. So what we do is people sign up, right? They go on a 14-day trial, they pick a plan, they sign up, and then we upsell them on a done-for-you setup, which is all the email, the phone system, all those cool things. Once they're set up, that's good to go. Then what we'd like to do is we say to them, look, there are some really cool features out of the box in SaaS stand out from the pack account, such as being able to send out review requests and all that. With automation comes more profitability. So if you wanted to fully automate your business, this is what the profit roadmap system is. We'll build it and you can just, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, if you guys like this idea, it's like Pokemons, you want to collect them all, because once you do, your business will be more profitable. So we build a snapshot for each one of them, and we explain to them what a snapshot is. We're very transparent with our customers. Like, we've done all the work, and you can just go here and buy it. And look, you just need to have an active subscription with us, and then you just pay. So this one is $2,000. You just one-time fee, and then we'll just go in and we'll install it into your account. It'll be very much on brand and fully bespoke setup around your business. Right? We don't talk about custom values to our customers, right? We talk about bespoke setup.
No. So
that's one of the systems that we do. Now, what I've done is inside GHL Plugins, where is my, you got to log in here. You've got this cool little thing called business tool. Oh, you got, by the way, this new UI, I like it. It's a lot cleaner. You had it the way before, it was a bit chaotic, but this is cool. So
we're getting better. It's under integrations.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. So you got this custom values form here. So what the way you do it, guys, so you just need to plug in your agency API. And that's how you pull in your sub account IDs and everything. And then so I've got one sub account for reputation management system, which is my developer sub account, which the snapshot is based off, right? So you pull it in, and then what you do is you edit. So I've already done the work, right? So you categorize things. It'll make a little sense in a second when I show you. Maybe, hang on, let me show you first what it looks like on the front end. It'll probably make more sense.
Are you using the onboarding tool, Vit?
No, so I use HL Pro Tools as well.
Okay.
So I've got a
Okay.
bit of a hybrid setup. But with the onboarding, I built my own actually before we
Okay.
even started working together. So yeah. But we can talk about it too for sure, because it is a good product. I just already built my own way. So check this out, guys, right? So this customer here, they've signed up. And what we've done is we've plugged the form. This is the GHL Plugins custom values form. And it just shows up in the left-hand side menu. Now, we use it internally. We do the setup for customers for most of the time. But what it does is I've categorized these into different areas. So your agency info, that's us. And I've embedded my Loom video so that it explains how you fill up these values and where these values come from. And then you got your branding and other things. I can easily click here and change the hex codes on colors and whatever, hit save, and within a couple of seconds, there's a little bit of delay with API, but within a couple of seconds, all of those values will be pushed into the actual custom values that are in the settings in the sub account. For those of you guys like you still don't get what we're talking about here, custom values is under settings and the sub account. So this is what they are, right? So I was talking about those 8 seconds. Do we want to time it? Look at this, right? I'm trying to find a custom value. So maybe I want to change this one. I'm going to click these 3 dots here, click edit, change it here, type it in here, hit update. I'll just put a space here, hit update. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 8 seconds for sure, right? And that's one value, right? So what this is instead of doing it that way, you go into this custom value form and you just update multiple things at once, then hit save, and kaboom, you're done. That's how we do it. It's highly powerful, highly scalable. And because you can embed these Loom videos, I've got a process where if I hire additional VIs, they don't have to ask me how do I do it, or if they get stuck, they can just watch this. But it's also not just VIs. If I got a customer who says, you know what, I don't want to pay $2,000 for the setup of that particular module, can we do it ourselves? I'm like, yes, you can. These days, I actually do qualify the customer when they say that. I ask them a couple of things just to really gauge. I get that they're trying to save money, but like I'm trying to gauge, will you be capable of doing it? Because what I don't want to do is you come back to me later on halfway through the process where you've messed a couple of things and now you want us to do it. Now we're going to actually charge you more than what we would have charged you if you just let us do it from the get-go. That's also a good one to think about. But yeah, so, it allows us to do it. Now, the way I've done it is, let's say I was going to show you the reputation one, but I don't have a link here. But this is for another system that we sell, the Essential Business Marketing System, which is on our profit roadmap. We've got 10 of them. So the Essential one is the first one that we sell. They all do a couple different things. But yeah, so because there's like a bunch of different values for this particular system, what you can do is you actually create these different groups. So we got branding separate to like email sending and notification stuff here. Yeah, so that's how you see it on the front end, and that's the use case. Is like really easy. Now on the back end, this is how you program it, right? So basically, once you get your API connected, you just go. It's called Pages. The naming convention is called Pages. So I'll actually show you that, and that correct one we're just looking at, so it just makes more sense. That was the Essential one. So if I go to the Essential one here, you see exactly how I've set it up on the back end. So agency info is this first step one, agency info, right? And here are my values. These are literally my agency values. They're always going to be the same, every single sub account. So instead of me having to populate those, and this actually, we didn't mention that, instead of me having to populate those every single time, what you do here is you can set up default values. Can you see those default values? I've got default value, the login URL, default value, agency name, default value, social media links that we have, because we want our customers to engage with us through socials and whatnot. So that means I don't even have to fill that up. I just click and it pushes it into a sub account like 2 seconds. And then how you bring in more values, you just click on add field, click in there, go into the search by a name. So this will pull in from the HighLevel, from that sub account, and say socials URL YouTube. There it is. Now I've got it twice, obviously I'm just showing an example. But I could leave it empty, obviously. I could leave it empty if it's meant to be unique per sub account and don't put anything in there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I can also change it into a number field or hex code field. Yeah, so I love the product. It's you might think such a small thing, but it's huge, yeah. Anyway, that's me enough sharing. Kind of feel like I stole your thunder there a little bit, Jason.
No, you do a better demo than I do. I'm curious. So that first step, those are all your agencies or your agency custom values, which are coming from a snapshot, right? Do you have a snapshot with all of those custom values?
That comes in with that very first one. That's not even part of the profit roadmap modules, because the profit roadmap modules are upsells. So we have another snapshot called a new SaaS account. And that's just like a part of our process. We always load it into new sub accounts, regardless. So every single customer they sign up, we load it into their sub account. And that one, I'll actually show you that just for context for the guys watching. By the way, guys, this part of the interview, this is visual, right? So if you're watching on Apple Podcast or whatever, obviously you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'm going to try and do my best to explain and add a bit of a commentary to what we're talking about here. But yeah, if you want to see it, go to our YouTube channel. That's what I was going to say. So I'm just going to show you this. So we got SaaS, I should say new SOFTP account. That's what we call that one. So that's a sub account called new SOFTP account, which we've snapshotted. So we've got a snapshot of the on the base of this, right? I mean, that's whole another episode talking about snapshots and explain how those works. But so we've got a snapshot here, and this snapshot, when I go into settings and go into custom values, what we, by default, we just like to keep it clean and organized because chaos doesn't scale, right? So we got folders. We got 18 values for our agency values. So there you go. I was right. I was saying 20, so I was not too far off. Then we got business values. So everything that says business and beyond, would be specific to the client. The agency, that's always going to be us. So we got 8 for just business, then we got 13 values for branding, 7 values for email setup, 8 values for legal, 6 values for socials, and 4 values for Google/Meta API. That's for like businesses who want to advertise. So if I go on an agency,
Love it.
you see we have, CRM name, CRM login URL, all that stuff. Now, another reason why I've done that is I always like to think about not just scale, but also change. Like, how do you plan for change? If I want to have the power to be able to change. If I one day decide, you know what, stand out from the pack, it's a bloody long name. I always knew it. What if I want to make it a shorter CRM name one day? Well, I could go into here and change that from this to whatever the new name is, so you could do it that way. So that's how we do that, because we want our customers to be presented with our values to that. And then with the business values, so we got things like, it's like stock standard stuff. Doesn't feel like much. But when you think about a regular business, contact us page, frequently asked questions page, Google Maps link, phone number, send as a text template, website SEO, things like that. It's like, why would you do that? Well, there's also a thing called trigger links, and we're going to have contact us page as a trigger link, because trigger links is what then gives you the power to be able to see what people click on and how people engage. We like to have values for URL links. So yeah, so we got all those. I'll show you one more. I don't want to go. Yeah, so like branding. Now this is, by the way, this is before HighLevels came up with their brand voice, brand guide. But even then, these days it's still good, because you can actually, they've made it super simple now. You can actually pull in custom values that are using hex code. So it's still, the use case is still there. They didn't diminish
100%.
it. Yeah, so it's brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah, so like business values, these are like actually one of the most important ones is the branding ones, right? So your about info paragraph, brand colors, we like to just go by bright, brighter, dark, darker, rather than primary, secondary.
Mm,
Slogan,
smart.
tagline, color buttons, footer background, favicon image, logo image for bright backgrounds, and logo image for dark backgrounds. You have those. Any new customer that signs up, again, even if they wanted to build themselves, you just make a small little Loom video and say to the customer, hey, just grab this and use this on the back of, because you're going to put your logo in emails, you're going to put your logo on a website page, you're going to put it in lots of different places. And maybe,
100%.
like this gives you ability later down the track just to rebrand and just change it in one place and then you're done.
Right.
Rebranding can be very, very costly. So, yeah.
Yes,
All right.
for sure.
I'll stop
So the
sharing.
reason I was asking about that is you're doing something that's interesting. It's one of the things that I see often is that there's, right. Have you ever heard of a Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule?
Yeah. Do 20% of the work that brings 80% of the revenue.
Yeah, right. So same thing goes with custom values also. So 80%, it's either 80 or 20, right? 80% is either going to be, you just want to automatically preload custom values. You want these out of 100, you want these 80 to automatically be the same no matter what. Now, these 20, I want my client to be able to either through client input or it needs to be relevant to my new client, the one that's getting the sub account, or it's 2080. Like these 20, I want to be able to have standardized. So the phrase that I use is standardized. So 20%, 20 of them are always going to be the same. They're just going to automatically load. 80%, that's where that form comes in. So we actually have a tool that may make your life a little bit easier. The CV Initiator can just simply load custom values, because in some cases, some people might watch this video and be like, well, this is great, but I really don't want to push a button to enter a form. To me, it's kind of funny. Like it's kind of like standing in front of a microwave and saying, hurry up, come on. It's been 30 seconds already. Now, on the flip side, some agencies are absolutely built for scale. They have standardized things so well that they only have one or two things that need to be customized. So they're like 98.2. So for those people that you just simply have custom values that you want to load completely populated every single time, that tool is the custom values initiator, because every new sub account that loads, they're just going to be completely populated. You don't even need a form because you don't want anybody to edit them or change them. Then we made one more tool. It's called Account Creator. That one I'm super stoked about because it has the ability, because let's say, for example, you're one of those agencies and you've standardized everything. Like you just want to make custom values. You want an easy button. Anytime a new account is created, just load these custom values. That's easy. That's custom values initiator. That's globally. So agency down, new sub accounts. So let's say, for example, that same agency has niches. They have restaurants, they have lawn mowing companies, they have dog care, and each snapshot is slightly different. So they have a different snapshot, which means they have different custom values that they want to automatically be preloaded, right? Because it may be the offer, it may be the landing page, so on and so forth. So we made Account Creator. So Account Creator is actually very slick. What it will do is, if you apply a tag to a contact, let's say, for example, somebody bought the dog trainer sub account. You apply a tag to that contact. This tool will go through all of the process that you normally do to create a new sub account, name, address, everything. It creates a new sub account, fires the automation inside of the agency itself, which then sends the onboarding, right? So, hey, welcome. Here's your login link. But what it does is, since you applied the tag dog trainer, it creates the sub account. It loads the custom values from the snapshot that you select, and then it populates those custom values from the sub account that the snapshot was created from. Now that's very nerdy to work back from, but if you've been inside a HighLevel a little bit, a couple bells just went off in your head because you realize, like, wait a minute, I can have unlimited niches. I just simply apply a tag to them and it's going to create the sub account completely populated out. I don't have to do anything. And it's going to populate custom values based off of what niche they bought in. That's exactly what this tool does. So those three things that we do for custom values, the form that you just showed, which makes it super easy. You can load defaults and somebody can hit submit and it's going to preload them. We have the CV initiator, which just simply preloads custom values, Pareto's principle. I've got these 20 are always going to load. I don't want to even push a button, hit save. I don't want to wait on it. Cool. Just do that. Then the next one is, hey, I've standardized things to the point where I just want an easy button to where as soon as somebody buys something, I don't have to do anything, including VAs. And that's the account creator.
So I haven't used the account creator. My question to that would be, so I paid $497. I've got a SaaS configurator set up with the rebilling and everything right. So how does that work alongside with this? Because to me, this sounds like this would set up a sub account through an API, wouldn't apply the SaaS plan. So I would have to do that manually afterwards.
That's the only limiter that this has, is that unfortunately HighLevel hasn't opened up the SaaS module to be able to, hey, turn on rebilling. That's the only thing that has to be done manually.
So this would be because,
rebilling is the only thing that doesn't trigger.
Yes, because like we've got our process is go to our page, pick a plan, sign up, and that triggers everything, the onboarding and everything. So that for us, that means, if we want to push sub account in there, we have to go in and we have to get the customer to fill up a survey form to provide us more details. And then based off that is how we then set up their business profile in the sub account. What you're saying is if I've already got those fields against the contact in my own sub account, which is like a sub account to run my own business, my agency business,
right,
then it would take those custom field values and push them into that new sub account as a business info and whatnot. And plus,
that's exactly right.
Link it with a particular snapshot, all at a click of. So that's I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
It just means it's just different path of sign up. So it's not going to be bulletproof. It's not going to be, that's only going to be the one way from now going forward because of the fact that we have a front end sign up way, self sign up way. So so it's going to look after those that we've talked to and they say, yeah, we want to go ahead. And I say, okay, well, don't worry about going to the website. We'll set you up and then we'll just send you a link and then you basically put your credit card details on file so we can flip it into a SaaS rebillable SaaS sub account. Yeah. Which is not
and not everybody does that, right? Some people just want to sell websites as a service. It's a real thing. I don't want to turn on rebilling. I just simply want to create a new sub account for everybody that signs up and pays me $100. Cool.
Yes.
You can do that.
Yes, I always, So in my view, I
so
never
all
really,
of the use cases.
Yeah.
So really what you're talking about, you're exactly right. You have two different points of entry. Like you can use the SaaS in terms of the form and everything else that HighLevel has, or like whatever information you want. Now think about this from your standpoint, like the way that you systemize custom values and sequentially step 1, step 2, step 3. So imagine collecting all of that information ahead of time before they even click buy. And we convert those custom fields into custom values. And then when they hit save, everything is just done with the exception of rebilling, turning it into SaaS. So that's just 3 of our tools. And they solve custom value problems in 3 different ways.
I think you forgot about your tool number 4, which is a very popular tool, right? 2 as well. I spoke to Sarah Coordinator. She's a big fan. The task manager.
Oh, she's amazing.
The task manager. Like I use ClickUp because I like ClickUp. It's just, I'm never going to go away from that. That's me personally, but I'm a super nerd. But I also know I'm probably complicating some things. I could have done it more easily and more scalable in that case. So there you go. Chew on that one. Hang on a minute. Didn't you say like you're all for optimization? I am, but I'm also very nerd. And ClickUp allows me to manage projects at more detail. But you have built something, and I haven't been using that particular product, so I can't really talk much on it. I only know that it's kind of looks like a Trello board, and it's sub-account specific, but also you can reference it in another sub-accounts. You can manage it and basically gives you the ability for your customers to go and submit job requests. Am I saying it right? Or do you want to show it, or I don't know?
Yeah, I'll show it. Yeah. That's cool. Let's see if I can find the right screen. So I'm going to go to screen here. I don't use this very often, so All right, we're going to create the window, infinite window of loop. There we go. So let's do this. All right. So the reason I was asking about the onboarding thing is this, like when I do these podcasts, I have this. So imagine the first time a new user goes to a sub account. This is called our onboarding tool. This right here. You've got a handy dandy checklist. Now everybody has their own client journey. This is what I want them to do. This is what I want them to do. And when we created this, we actually created something called internal routing. Nobody had ever done it before. So when somebody comes to a sub account, the last thing you want them to do is click around on the left side because it gets confusing. It gets overwhelming. So one of the settings of this tool is strips the left side to where I can't click over here. I can't do anything as a new user.
Okay.
Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I'm just impressed because I didn't know it does that. Oh, that's cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's called restrict menu. It's just a very simple setting. So the other thing that what we want them to do is we want them to follow a path, and ideally a path that we've created that's going to create the ideal path that they're happy, they get onboarded, super smooth, and we're able to track where is that client through the onboarding process. What have they done? Now, here as the user, I can see that I'm 38% done. But one of the things that you're also able to do is every time that I click this as a user, this is the internal routing. We route them directly to the sub account within the sub account where we want them to go. So if I say, hey, all right, let's get your phone number, it's going to route them directly to the phone number area. They're going to be able to get in. And of course, if I wanted to be able to set up a video, I could pop it up and make it show. All of these things are tools inside of the setting. But what's cool of it is that it's applying, because I'm a user inside of this sub account, but I'm a contact inside of the agency.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that this tool has the ability to be able to apply the tag to my contact, onboarding/get phone number. So then I can create a curated experience to where now, since I click this, I can have a workflow. The contact gets the tag, onboarding/get phone number. Internally, I set a timer for 1 hour in that workflow, and then my team goes and finishes A2P or whatever process that looks like. So this is the onboarding tool. So the reason I show this first is because it's something that nobody's ever seen before unless they're a client of ours. So that then leads into opening support tickets. So one of the things you're asking about, you can use the project manager. So what you're looking at here is this is a support ticketing system built from our project management system. So it is, now if this was not blended out, there would be a custom menu link over also on the left-hand side called Get Support.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So anytime somebody wanted to do something, you'll notice here, I can't click on these. The only thing I can do is I can come in here and say, Vit, please help. Right. All I can do is either comment on an existing ticket or I can open a new one. Right. So if I want to open a help ticket, I've got these different categories. The categories are created inside of the project itself. So this is a support ticketing system inside of every sub account that I want. And it's triggered and it's set up as a custom menu link, or of course over here on the onboarding thing, because these are custom menu links. So where does that go? We're going to go right here. Oh, there's Pulse. So if I go here, if I go to the task board, and if I go to more projects, if I go over to support desk, I'm going to hide this so I can see. Please help Tabby. So you can see here, now I've got the project management system. Oh, I'll go back for just a second. So the task board, the task, you can have unlimited tasks. And these are just the projects that we use for GHL plugins. This is what we use for support. By the way, we also use this support for all of our apps. So if anybody has any of our 1,300 apps and they click support and they open a ticket, it goes into our project management system.
From
Sends
a
out
whole
notification.
another high-level agency altogether. You've got that too, is it?
Boom. Yeah. So we actually have a lot of VA companies that are using our project management system because it's a simple custom menu link. Not only are we pulling in the contact ID, we're pulling in the location ID, the agency ID. So other VA companies are able to use this in one sub account. And they say, here's a custom menu link. And that custom menu link is unique because as you can see here, there's other tasks on here. And of course, now that I'm on here, I can take it, I can drag it. And me as the user that created this ticket, now I just got a white labeled email. But if I open it up, please help Tabby, I should be able to see, in theory, activity. Vit, please help. Now, if I reply to it, oh, what's your question, dude?
Yeah, I was going to say, where do you see which sub account it's coming from?
Right here. That sub account ID is right here. So it looks like with this one, I know what happened. So this is an old one here. So
It
actually a bad
doesn't
example.
have a
Let's go
name
down here.
yeah.
It doesn't have a name because the sub account that was created, it's not through the onboarding process. But if you look at these other ones, like Peyton's Lawn Care, that's my son's lawn mowing service.
Wait,
So I can see
so
the user that created it.
onboarding process. So if it was created through SaaS configurator, you're saying the name doesn't come through?
I think that the name has changed. So this is the location ID, the sub account ID right here, this LOL1N.
Yeah.
So I think that something glitched with the project.
Okay.
So I just happened to, for this video, I just happened to choose the wrong task to demonstrate that.
Yeah,
Let's go find another one. Let's see if that's the case. Need help with timing of an SMS. Let's see where that's at. Task. Where's that?
The joy of
That's one of the things.
the joy of
I don't
software
go demo.
demos, right? You're always trying to make them perfect,
Yep.
but
Yep.
I like it.
I think that something's off with this. Here, I'll just show you. I'll create a new help ticket. I think something changed with after I set up this sub account.
Yep.
All right. So Vit's demo. If I come over here and if I go to the support desk, Vit's demo right there. So something glitched. Oh, yeah, it's there also. So it looks like there must have been a delay between the API to be able to pull in the location ID.
Okay. Yeah. So there's the API thing. That's the same thing with custom values updater, where I've hit the save on the
Right.
form and then it wasn't there immediately, but that's because of the API takes a couple of seconds. Yeah. Oh, that explains it.
Right. Yep.
Sweet.
So there's just a little bit of a delay. But here I've got a fully functional project management system. I can open it. I can assign it to any of my other users. If one of my team is working on it and it's a billable project, they can come up here and they can start a timer.
Oh yeah, and they can start working. They can minimize the thing on the right hand side. Can you collapse it?
Yep. You can drag it over here. Minimize what thing?
Well, the whole thing on the right hand side of the screen. So if they're now doing a work, the VA is now in the sub account, going into automations, whatever, doing actual work.
Yeah.
Obviously, the timer is important because that's for billables if you're doing by hours. But yeah, okay, so you just collapsed it. Okay, cool. Now, for me personally, and again, we got a mix of people listening. They have people using different vendors for when it comes to actual like a true 24/7 live support, right? Because this in a way could be use case for how you manage support for customers, but it means you have to like internally manage it. The beauty about using the other vendors like HL Pro Tools is they've got a 24/7 live chat, and you just customers can go and chat to them directly.
Exactly.
So I already got that. I'm not changing that. But what I see this as a use case, instead of calling that support desk, I could call that job management or project management, where I've got customers. Yes, they've got a support, and they can reach out to the through the chat widget to the support people provide from HL Pro Tools, but if they come to me and the customer says, hey, can you build me a website? Can you open up another browser tab, actually, by the way, on your Chrome and type in standoutfromthepack.com.au slash...
.com?
No, it's .com.au / services. Or just hit the menu, services. This is something, I mentioned it on one of the earlier, a couple of episodes back. This is something I built for myself because I have some customers that they sign up and we want to sell them done for you account setup, which we charge, $1,650 as a special, but only during the sign up process. Otherwise it's $2,200. And the account setup is us configuring, their phone system, the phone number, regulatory bundle for us in Australia, or if they were overseas, US, A2P, and DOC, whatever, setting up the email system, setting up a basic voice AI agent, chat agent, reputation widget, chat widget, all those little things. That's what the account setup is. And we find some customers, they don't take up on that upsell, because what we say on that landing page, don't worry, if you don't want to, you can do the setup yourself and we'll provide you with videos, right? Now, what happens is some go down that route because, again, they want to save, right? They don't really save at the end of the day. They actually realize they just wasted this time and they could have paid. It's another discussion, but sometimes they do that. And they set certain things that are easy, like they set up the reputation, or maybe they figure out how to brand the chat widget and install it on the website. But commonly they do get stuck on the phone number or the email setup because we, do custom subdomains. We like 10 different subdomains for the email setup. They get stuck on those things, but at this point they've already done some portion of the setup, so we can't go back to them and say, well, pay for the setup because they've already done some of it. So the way I've overcome this recently is I built this a la carte menu. It looks like a restaurant menu. So you got browse the menu, you got chef specials, you got your starters.
Nice.
And these are like different services. But if you go a little bit further down, there's a category called core system setups. So we've basically itemized each thing separately. So if they go, we're stuck on the calendar setup, can you do that one? So we got, pay $300. And they can click on order now. It gives them a 2-step order form or 1-step order form, and they pay, and then we do it. We've only just launched this offering, like this restaurant menu style pricing of different microservices recently. I could definitely see a use case for the task manager where when they place an order, it would automatically create a ticket in the task manager.
Yep.
Attribute it to the sub account, and then if the customer needs to
Mhm.
provide more info, then you can just comment on the task. So that could be good.
Yep. Great use case.
Yeah.
So the reason I started here to show you, all right, using it for support is, and actually that's just something that we just spun up recently because a lot of agencies started using it for project. It's a fully functional enterprise level project management system, and it works across all sub accounts inside of the agency. Now, the only thing that you have to do to make it work inside of other sub accounts is share that custom menu link. So we have a lot of agencies that are taking our project management system and adding as an add-on, either as a value add or they're selling it because it is fully integrated. It works with contacts, it works with users. Back to your point of custom of standardizing things from a snapshot standpoint, it works natively inside of workflows. So being able to go from a workflow to a task, that the task automatically gets added to the project manager. And I just want to show this real quick so the request support, right? So that's this here. I refresh it.
Because you can rename, the naming conventions could be different, right? You can call it different thing instead of support desk. And what about that button that says help ticket? Can you change that too?
Yeah, you can change that. You can change that also. You can change your categories, the things that you want them to go to. But if I go over here, if I click on Task Manager, one of the things you're going to notice, the tasks are different. It doesn't have the same projects because I'm inside of a different sub account.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is that once you add this as a custom menu link to another account, another sub account, the project manager itself, they have their own version of the project management system.
It's like a
They don't
child.
have
It's
yours.
like a parent and child.
It can be. It's literally its own instance.
Or like if they've got their own, which only lives in their own sub account and doesn't reference back to your agency one. If they wanted to, like,
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you could have two.
Yeah.
You could
so
have
if they want to have their own projects.
Yeah, I get it now. So that's just for them and their team to manage things, whatever the use case is. Okay, cool.
Yep.
And the use case of the original one that you showed me for the customer support, if I was using it for project management for my SaaS customers, so that's a default manual link that shows up in every sub account. But when they are in their sub account and they're looking at their cards or the Trello board or whatever the main view, would it only show them their own tickets?
Yep.
None of the other ones.
It would only show their tickets. Correct. Right.
Whereas
it's their support desk.
Whereas in your agency, support tickets across all the other sub accounts.
Yep. Exactly.
Brilliant. I like that.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's just 4 of our tools.
One more question on this one. Now I can get into the product demo here. Can you customize? See, like when you go into a particular ticket, if somebody wants to create, can you go into a customer sub account when they are creating a new ticket from scratch, as an example? And what does it?
Yeah. We'll go here. So we'll go here. So I'm inside of a customer sub account. What do you want me to do?
So you click on help ticket, and then you select a category. So this would be help the task name, select category. Yeah. So there's like different areas of, this is kind of like high level support is like what area, like sites, and then finals, whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
So you hit submit.
And all of that is adjustable. I'll show you here real quick. So under request, when I go over here, I can set up the categories. And if I want to, so the categories, if I wanted to, I could even go over here and I could create a task form.
Okay, that's what I was
So I
gonna.
could create a task
Yes,
form.
because I wouldn't want
Yep.
anybody to
Yep.
submit. I only want them to submit once they've provided all the context, including a Loom video and that sort of stuff. Because I
Yeah.
don't. I hate doing
Yeah.
a back and forth, trying to
Same.
chase the customer to provide me with more context. Right. So,
Yep. Exactly.
so
Yep.
you make
So
that
you can actually make
compulsory.
it to where,
Yeah.
yeah. So when a specific category is selected, you can show a specific form that is created right inside of the system here. So create the first form, you select the category, you go and you just make it.
Required.
Now, the great thing
Yeah.
about it is, yeah, you can use the form not only on the support desk system, but you can drop the form because once you've created it, you can take the embed code, and it even has styled CSS, and you can make it look however you want. You can drop it on a website. So that means that you can use it for your clients can use it. Your sub account clients can use it to support their clients.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's like a 3 tiers of. Yeah.
It is.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, so what I would do there for my use case would be I'd make a required field to provide a Loom video. I would add a hyperlink to explain, what Loom video is. I always like to dumb it down, like just to cover all use cases, right? All the different user experience levels.
Yep.
So I'll make that a required field. Can you also add a text description field below it, where you say, if they don't know what the heck Loom is, or if they don't have it, then it'll be like, click here if you don't have Loom. Loom is a simple screen
Yep.
sharing tool, things like that. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you
long
do
text,
that.
short text, additional context.
Okay. Yeah, sweet. Okay, brilliant. All right. Where from here? Hang on. So
We could go on and on
mate,
about this.
we could. So last time when we met in Dallas, you told me about this mantra, this, friction equals less velocity. How did that mindset evolve, and how do you apply it when deciding what plugins to build next?
Well, how it evolved, I think I've always kind of thought that way. Even though I learned things the hard way often, I learn them fast, and I always start every assumption assuming that I'm wrong. So when I'm moving in a direction, one of the things I've been known to say is I try to step back and I'm always asking myself is, how would I kick my own ass? If I'm competing against me, what do I do? So that's where that term velocity and friction is I'm always looking at what are my own constraints, what are my own bottlenecks, and because I see those as opportunities, because if I'm competing against myself, I hope they stay, because then that becomes motivation for me to remove them, because I'm really only competing against myself. Now, how we choose to develop plugins, that I wish I could tell you, because Pulse AI, like the example of that actually started a long time ago, because about a year and a half ago, when AI really started to come on the waves, we intentionally stayed out of it because there's a lot of really great minds inside of it doing some cool stuff. So our goal period is we are going to be the preeminent developer inside of the ecosystem of HighLevel. That's it. We have one goal. We want to be the best of the best, the best. So we can't do that and go and become experts in AI. So, but what we can do is we can take the skill of being the best developer inside of the HighLevel system. We can give those amazing brains inside of the AI space tools to enhance what they know and apply those inside of HighLevel. So the idea that I had about a year and a half ago was it would be great if you could just simply take everything inside of the conversations column, because you take a business that's been inside of HighLevel for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It sucks that you have to build a knowledge base. You shouldn't. It's all right there. Anything that should be said to a client has been said to a client inside of conversations.
Right. All the nuance, different back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Everything's there. So I wanted to be able to pull that out and do something with it. What? I didn't know. I just dropped the idea. Like, the most valuable part of a sub account, I believe wholeheartedly, the most valuable part of a business that's inside of HighLevel for more than 24 months is without a doubt inside of the conversations column.
Well, I'll tell you this, right? The perfect use case to me, and I've spoke to a customer a couple of months back. Like, he says, I am really busy, I get this omni-channel inbox, and I can go into the context and get full context of the conversation's history, and all the data is there, and that's brilliant. But it requires us to be really proactively and like looking at stuff. And I wish the system was able to just tell me who do I need to follow up next.
Right.
And I said to him, that's what pipelines are for. Just go and look through your pipelines. Yeah, I get it. Pipeline stages, I can see it there, but I can still see a multiple of contacts. I just wanted to just tell me like, here are 5 contacts you definitely need to reach out for today, not based on what pipeline stage they are, but based on the actual hardcore data of what's happening right now, what they clicked on, what they're conversating about, because the data is power. And yeah, that's what he was on about. I'm like, I don't think we've got something like that. So let me build you something. So what I did is I built like a workflow, which every time somebody responds to an email or SMS, the AI sort of analyzes the sentiment plus, takes in account any of the existing custom fields. And then based on that, it either sends the customer an email or doesn't. So it's like a tiered escalation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like my workaround. But then, then I went to Dallas, and then you showed me something which gives you more like a dashboard almost. So I kind of like that. So
Yeah.
That's what is this,
Yep.
the Pulse AI?
Yeah. Pulse.
Because you do work with a lot of agency owners. What are like
Mhm.
top 2 to 3 like friction points you consistently see that most agency like owners don't realize that are slowing them down
Onboarding.
on board?
Yeah, the onboarding. The customers get onboarding and attrition, right? And drop off. So which is attrition and stall. If you can remove friction in those early days, the client gets velocity. And once they get velocity, they have momentum and they're not likely to drop off. It's just that simple. So it's a simple math problem of how do you remove that friction? How do you make the onboarding process step by step by step, remove their confusion over on the left-hand side, create a visual representation or automation based off of as they go through onboarding. Onboarding is key. Support. How do they support clients? I think HL Pro Tools does an amazing job with that. I use them at one of our agencies. And the last one is tough because it runs contrary to what we all know, is that you learn the core system and keep on the core system. But I've talked to people that have been on stage 3 years ago, and they used to look at my stuff, and I actually had a conversation with him. He got very upset with me, but he said, I'm looking at your stuff. I get it. It's just my team. Like, we're onboarding 5 new clients a day, and my VAs, they're all set. They're just perfectly fine. And I just told him, I said, dude, you're a dinosaur. Your success is going to it's going to decline or it's going to just completely flatline. One of those two is because your constraints in terms of onboarding. Yes, you are efficient, but once evolution favors speed. So anybody that can move faster eventually just evolves up that food chain.
Right.
And I said, I don't understand. If you recognize you have inefficiencies and you have a simple way to solve them, why wouldn't you do that? Well, my word works. Well, so does the person that's doing carbon paper invoices when they're mowing lawns. That way works too, but that doesn't mean that it's efficient. It works until it doesn't. And a problem put off just long enough eventually becomes an emergency. And it usually isn't solved until it becomes an emergency.
I've got a simple one to that.
So
Can I just follow up on this? The argument is, I've got my own way and it works. Okay, you've got your own way and it works, but how much is it costing you money to fulfill it on that way, right? In his way, he's got VA, so that's labor, and he's got processes, right? When it comes to acquisition of new customers, the golden rule is whoever can afford to spend more on acquiring a customer will always win. That's the most simple math of business. So if you can afford to pay $1,000 to paid ads to generate a customer, where your competitor can only afford 500, you will always win. Now, how are you going to be able to afford to spend more? Is by having more profitable business. How do you make a profitable business? Is being able to do things more efficiently, but also do things faster. Because faster means a better experience for the customers.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. But it's counterintuitive because when you reach a certain point, some people get comfortable like, hey, our systems are grease skids. Now, there's always a way to do something better. Always assume you're wrong. So as HighLevel comes out with some of these tools, you don't necessarily have to implement them. But one of the problems I see is a lot of agencies just aren't simply learning them and then asking, okay, because once you have an agency that's doing a certain thing, an update isn't necessarily a linear growth. It may not even be a multiplier. It could be a geometric multiplier in terms of, or geometric lever in terms of, hey, if you adopt this one thing, learn it. Yeah, no, it doesn't really fit. But if it becomes a geometric lever that you can deploy and then it works and makes everything within your system either better or more profitable for you, ideally for your client, which then it becomes more profitable for you. So the third one that I said is that I feel like is some agencies just aren't learning. They're just turning away from the new shiny object. They don't have to go and bring it into the ballpark, but I think they should go learn it.
I mean, it's a software. If you're selling a software, you need to understand your product. That's a plain simple.
Yep.
There's a leverage in that. One of the ways we've started to do about 6 months ago, realized there's so many features and you can't sell features. You got to sell the benefits. There's adoption, and more I can get the customer use more features, more sticky it's going to be, better results. They're going to be bigger raving fans. They're going to become, because they don't really get the full power of it until like later on once they've educated. So one thing we've started what we want to do, which is speed of adoption. And the simplest idea, I was like, well, let's just start doing a weekly webinars. But instead of calling them webinars, let's call them workshops, because workshops kind of sound like a higher value. Do them interactive, do them where they have to come along and actually build something, and basically unpack all the different features that HighLevel has, pair them into the core underlying category of marketing, let's say what people know about, like advertising or email marketing, or even more results oriented categories like lead generation. So if you think about lead generation, you've got, okay, feature forms, feature funnels, feature this. So how do we pair it to a feature? How do we then title the workshop so it's titled about the outcome, what it does, and then deliver it? So then people come along and we talk about the strategy, how lead generation works, then pair it with the solution, which is the feature. And then the third part of the workshop is show them how they can do it themselves. And then at the end, have an upsell to say, well, look, if at this point you kind of get it, but you just can't be effed to do it, you can buy one of our a la carte services. And then the best, and then on top of it is, how do we do this so that we can maximize our time here? Because I want to use it to educate our customers, but I also want to generate new leads. So we've actually started to do it in a way where it's attractive for both audiences, because the strategy piece at the beginning is kind of system agnostic. These are like, we're trying to make it so it doesn't matter what you use as a platform, whether you're with us or not. This strategy is valuable to just think about in your business, how you implement it, obviously in some nuances with what software you use, but it'll still be very valuable. So that's kind of how we engineered it that way. So we can advertise it as a free workshop for business owners. They come along. If they're a customer, they learn strategy too. They get value. If they're a customer, they learn how to do it themselves. If they're not a customer, now we're showing them a demo of the capability. Yeah, so that's what we started to do, the workshops. And time will tell. I mean, it's very, very high effort, because we literally do every single week a different new workshop, as opposed to like what, and Andy O'Day, he's a master at selling SaaS through webinars, but I think he's got like the core webinar, and then he just says, repeat it every month. I haven't done that. So anyway, that aside, when I was at Level Up in October last year, we catch up. You were one of the sponsors there, and you were showing me that new tool, but we just kind of alleviated to you call it Pulse AI.
Right.
And from my understanding, it's a tool that basically does what we talked earlier, where it's like a brain that understands what's happening within the CRM, and it gives you context, and it gives you, and it surfaces the key opportunities, sales opportunities to the top. And it's like data paired with AI. The AI is the intelligent thing that kind of dissects it and picks it up from there for you, so that you can Just look at it, and when you wake up and it just sits there on a silver platter and it tells you, hey, here is somebody that you should definitely like tap into, and you probably be able to close. Am I right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, you nailed it. So the only thing that I'll add to that is, especially for our listeners, is because when your listeners are hearing, it brings up what you want. You have to remember this is for your clients. You can use it in your agency because it's very powerful, but your clients want to know what's going on in my business. Where's my leaky funnels, right? What are my salespeople doing? What are content ideas? Who's likely to churn? So imagining an executive assistant that you can deploy to all of your businesses, all of your sub accounts, and daily they get a report. Whenever they want it, they can open it up and they can say, this is my business at a glance. Here's everything that I want to know, because every KPI are different. They're all different.
Yep.
They need to know different things. They want to pay attention to different things. So that's where we took that concept and then melded it with the most valuable part of a sub account is actually in the conversations column, because that's where our clients are giving us signals. Well, any business is giving the business owner and their staff signals on what their intent is and where they're likely to go. So yeah, I'll share my screen real quick.
Two-way conversations, they're so important. This is always should be the game. The focus of any like lead nurturing is to start it, like have a follow-up that opens that conversation. It's a chat starter. Once you start getting responses from somebody, you're way closer to closing the deal, because if they're responding, if they're giving you input or output, you can start to read between the lines, you get context. And that's always say to all our customers, look, we've got this amazing platform, AI automations, we can do a heck out of it. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, you still need to manage it as a CRM. That's your business. You need to operate as a regular salesperson and go in there and look at those conversations and who you've spoken to and what did they say that maybe they now is not a good time, but in 3 months will. Did you make a note on file? Like you need to run it.
Yep, exactly. So this, once you install this from the app marketplace, just do a search for Pulse AI. It's got a 7-day free trial. You put in an open AI key, and then you let it sit there and consume all of the content. It could take anywhere between 2 hours. I've seen it take overnight for a sub account that was 4 years old, and they were averaging close to 1,000 messages per day. But what happens is once you're done, it creates, you can see the view of this week, last month, any time frame that you want. And this is just a real quick glimpse of making sure that the dashboard itself is what's going on. This right here, we actually made this for, because Rob Bailey is a dear friend. He's always talking about speed to lead. Well, speed to lead isn't actually something you can measure inside of HighLevel.
Oh, brilliant.
How fast does your client, the business, get in contact with their clients? Because if you're bringing in leads and it's taking them 12 hours, or in this case, even 3 hours, which this is measuring it, it's Sunday here. So it doesn't surprise me that we're a little bit slower because we have 24/7 support, but at the same time, we're a little bit limited on the weekend. So it shows the number of messages this week, new contacts, everything else. And it takes us on average 3 hours to get back to a new lead. So working through this contacts, this is going to show the contacts here. And it shows lots of things like sentiment, for example. Now, let's say, for example, I want to go down here, and if I want to see what's going on with Sherist, I can look at it and it'll give an overall sentiment.
Oh, right? Wow. Yeah.
So we can see what's going on.
So guys, if you listen again, if you're not seeing visuals, head over to our YouTube channel, but I'm gonna try and add some commentary here. So what Jason's showing me is a list of contacts. We're on a particular contact card here. We're seeing in the sentiment. So it's 2.5 out of 10. So it's like negative. So it's like, what is it saying? So-and-so has declined a scheduled meeting, indicating a potential loss of interest or a change in priorities. So that's telling you that it's either maybe not worth following up, because it's like with prioritizing who to follow up, you should always be following up with the people who are most likely, right? So then you might want to put that would mean that you want to put this guy on like further down the list, because maybe just rely on automations at this point. But then what else we got? So best time to it gives you best time to contact. How does it pick it up based on
best time to contact? Yeah, when he's likely to respond. So let's go take a look. I don't know if you ever message. So let's look up Vit. Mueller. There we go. Which one? You don't have a sentiment, so you haven't responded very often. But let's take a look. No data. So you're neutral. That's what that means. So if we go over here, let's go find somebody that's got a midline sentiment.
Yep.
Let's go down here. Let's go to 3, for example. There we go. 4, Sarah Young.
All right, neutral.
So we have our average response time over here on the right. We've sent a total of 26 messages. Our response rate is 100%. Our average response rate is 3 minutes. The first time it took us 24 hours, completely unacceptable.
Wow.
Best time to contact is the best time to contact, 1 p.m. her time.
On Monday.
And that's based off of, that's the one time she sent. So now 26 messages, obviously that's a lot of our outgoing.
Yeah.
But the one that she sent was at this time. If she would have sent 10, it would have created the aggregate, and it still would have created what's the best time to respond in a day.
Because it averages it out.
Yep, exactly.
And then this
Yep.
AI analysis, this is the most impressive. Okay, so what are we seeing here?
Sarah Young is a current client of GHL Plugins, our business, managing her business through the platform. She has been engaged with the service since August 2025. Sarah's trying to access her account, but is facing login issues, which is preventing her from using the purchase services effectively. Sarah is currently a client who recently made a purchase, but is experiencing technical difficulties. So it gives who they are, what they want, what the relationship status is, what are the key insights, what are the risk and opportunities. So the risk and opportunities, there's a risk of churn if the login issue is not resolved promptly. Now, a lot of us would probably look at this and be like, duh, yeah. We know that because we know our business inside and out, but being able to have everything at a glance. So let's say, for example, if we go over here and if we take a look at Sarah, if we go to actually her contact, see if it's going to search it up. That's one other thing that's really wild about this. It's high level sometimes that way. So we also put on the contact itself, we put a sentiment analysis for every contact. And I'll show you that here in just a second, because Pulse lives not only inside of the custom menu link, but it also lives on the contact record itself.
As a custom field?
Call analytics. Oh, no. Nope. Here, I'll just show you.
Oh
So I'll go show this. So let's take a look at somebody that's been in here for a while.
Yep. Here we go. All right. So we got neutral sentiment right there, who they are. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like that. The UI, yeah, brilliant. Opportunities.
Yeah. So that means that the users, in order to be able to get the contact sentiment, they don't have to go to Pulse. They can do it directly right here when they're looking at or on the conversations column. They can pull up the AI analysis, get the breakdown, and then of course, they can go read the emails to make sure that the context meets it, and then they can respond to that accordingly.
So how often does this update, and where is the data coming from in order to generate? Is it purely based on conversational history, or is it also taking into account custom fields data?
So it is coming from the conversations column, and we're currently updating it to where we're going to be pulling in notes also. But really right now, that's all we've found we've needed to do.
Okay.
What you can do, what you're asking about Smart List. So I'm going to get down here first. So I'll get back to your point about Smart List. So let's take a look at calls, right? So for example, we score based off of quality of calls for customer service. When people are having an issue, how do we solve it? Now, these are all D's and F's. Our overall average is an F, but the reason is because the AI doesn't recognize that the call didn't happen. Like somebody calls, it will grade it a D or an F. So if I take a look at a call that actually took place, and if I go to view details, I can view here the entire transcript of the call, as well as what the outcome of the call was, call summary. So there was a call where a customer reached out to Jason, the agent, to inquire about a feature in their app related to coupon generation. The customer was specifically trying to figure out if they could create a single-use coupon, so on and so forth. So it takes the call transcript and then it creates a summary to tell me exactly what was happening. Since we're transcribing the call, then this lives inside the conversation column, and we're able to generate AI sentiment based off of that.
That's brilliant.
This is the dashboard that you were asking about. Takes just a second to load. Assuming there's enough conversations. Usually on the weekend, there's not. So I'm going to select a different day. Go back to a day to where there is enough context. There we go. The executive summary for December 10th, 74 messages. We've got 1 negative, 1 needs attention. Key insights. Leah experienced negative interaction due to a missed appointment. They're frustrated. We shouldn't be missing appointments. So as a business owner, I can take a look at this daily pulse, and it tells me exactly what I need to do and who I need to focus on. And each one of these are custom mini links or links to where it links to the contact. So I can go take action on it. Action items, critical issues without resolution or with resolution attempt, reads it all out. Now this right here, so this is the AI. All of this is completely adjustable based off the prompts that you put in. These are called custom metrics right here. So needing a VA, hot lead, opportunities with no task. JC Hyde actually said, it'd be very cool. So I'll show you the prompt here that I did. So if we go to custom metrics, opportunities with no task, the prompt is this: review these interactions and show me the leads who are not being nurtured on a weekly basis. It's that. So if we go back and we take a look at that daily pulse, and we go back to the 10th. Was it the 10th?
Is it only doing based on a
11th?
particular date? Can you do it based on date range as well?
You can. So not for the AI summary because it would be too big to run. You can do it here. So let's go to opportunities with no tasks, meaning the people that haven't been followed up properly. I can see here, if I want to go fishing for who has not been followed up properly, this is an easy net to use.
Yeah,
I
nice.
can go take a look at it. Yep.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So those are called custom metrics. Yeah. But the daily pulse is just meant to be a dashboard of who's slipping through the cracks, whether they're not being served properly.
So this is, you call it daily pulse. I would call this the silver platter thing, because that's what it really is. You can see, okay, 1 positive sentiment, 1 negative, and straight away you can scroll down here and get to the actual so okay, hang on. So go back. So at the very top already, now further up. Yeah, so you got executive summary, and it says, this is cool. So guys, listen to this. So it goes, the AI generates executive summary for the day, and it says, the overall sentiment for today is neutral with a mix of positive interest from a potential buyer or negative experiences from our existing contact. Lee expressed dissatisfaction due to a missed appointment, while Charles is facing ongoing technical issues. Immediate action required to address these concerns. So it literally tells you specific contacts. Now they're hyperlinked, so you can click into their contact record and do what you need to do. And if you didn't have this, the only way you'd know is if you're like super diligent and you're monitoring every single contact in your CRM on daily basis, which is humanly impossible unless maybe you've got a sales team where you allocate 10 contacts per sales reps, in which case that's not scalable and very costly. So this is great. I love it.
Thank you. And the problem with even having sales reps are great, but at a glance, unless you're going to go through and read every text message and listen to every transcript or read every transcript of every call, you don't have a dashboard of what's happening inside of your business. It's all constrained right there inside of conversations. So by being able to take the conversations and run AI against them based off of what the business is trying to accomplish, it's a game changer. And I did tell you earlier that the easiest way that I said to sell this is, as an agency, if you go to the app marketplace, it is $30 per sub account. But since it's inside the app marketplace, it's a resellable item. So most agencies are selling this at $97. Here's how to make an extra $60 per sub account. Go install it to 10. Go install it to 100. It doesn't matter. Just install it. Add the OpenAI key and then let it cook overnight. Tomorrow morning, send an email to all of your clients and say, hey, Bet, good news. We actually developed an AI-powered dashboard. It's going to go and it's going to read every email, every transcript, and every text message you and your team are sending. And it's going to deliver on a silver platter. Love that phrase. It's going to deliver on a silver platter everything you want to know daily about your business. Now, I'm going to set it up as a free trial, but if you decide to keep it, it's only $100 per month. I'll reach out here in a few days to see what your thoughts are. Take a look at it and then use it over the next couple of days, and hopefully it brings you some value. If not, I'll remove it from your account. No problem at all.
This is great. Now, the only question with that, you mentioned the API key. So the tokens, obviously, that's the thing that I'm thinking right away is like, there's a lot of data. What's the cost here? How much tokens is this chewing up? And can I plug in my customer's API, or can I resell the API tokens?
Yeah, so you can't resell API tokens to my knowledge. You can use the customer's API tokens if you want. Now, your question of how much does it cost, like, so we have, I don't know, 200, I don't remember, 273, and that's about right, 200, 300 messages a day going through GHL Plugins sub account. That cost us about anywhere between 20 cents to 25 cents a day. It's minimal. Now, the first download,
What you got per message?
GHL Plugins is 3 years old.
The
No,
over
that was just per day.
To what is that? Is that per contact or per the whole account to like run the API? Sorry, I'm not following.
Yeah, so no, that's okay. So GHL Plugins being a sub account, I have an API key or an OpenAI key, and that only costs about 20 to 25 cents per day. So me as the agency, that's what you're going to have to eat if you install this and if you use your own OpenAI key.
And that's for per sub account. Sorry, what do you mean per day? What is that?
Well, so when you're in OpenAI and you're looking at usage, it has your usage day over day. Some days it's 5 cents, some days it's 30 cents.
But what's the usage?
But on an average, it's
sorry,
20
what I'm trying to say, what's the usage for?
Okay.
What's the usage
for? Because it has to download and absorb all of those conversations from the last time it started to the next time it started. And then it runs the prompts, like the daily pulse. It's running the prompts and the custom metrics against those new, and then adding it to the knowledge base.
And it does it across the whole sub account, across all the contacts in one dump, and the AI can figure out which contacts it pertains to because it's all different IDs, I guess, contact IDs. Right.
Yeah.
So that's for one sub account. Say for my agency sub account, like 30 cents per day. So if I sell this to 100 of my customers, 100 sub accounts, I give them a 14-day trial. I have to think about 30 cents per day per sub account, right? That's how to think about it. But it's kind of like flat. It doesn't really go above that. Or that's the average based off a number of contacts.
So depending on the size of the sub accounts.
Size of the how big is the list?
Yeah. How big is the list? How active is it? And that's the reason you want to mark it up. And to be clear, there's a 7-day trial, and an agency's cost is $30 per sub account. So it's the first download because that's the reason it takes a long time, because it has to absorb all of those conversations and all of those contacts. That first download will cost about $20. If you're looking at about, I can't remember, 12 to 15,000 contacts inside of plugins, that's about what it cost the very first time I installed it.
Yeah. So this is important information, right? Because you can't just think, it's free for me, free for my clients for 14 days. No, it's free for your clients for 14 days. You're going to pay, but it's a cost of acquisition. And the way I would do it, just being on the safe side, right? Because I'm always like skeptic first until I'm a true believer. I would look at my customer base and maybe just pick a small subset, run it for the small subset first, and see what the conversions, what the feedback's like, how well they're how quickly they get it. Because that gives you kind of an understanding how safe this is going to be to roll it out to the rest of it. Safe in terms of conversion, right? Because you want to make profit on it. You want to make sure that they can turn into that 99. And from that 99 bucks, if you're making $60 and you know that maybe, so what did you say, 30 cents a day? What is that, like
$9 a month.
Yeah, there you go. So you still make $50 profit roughly per sub account. Right. Yeah, easy. It's a no-brainer. So now, even because originally I was like, well, I'm already charging this much. I could upsell, or I could just add it as another perk and then just chew into my profits a little bit, but make myself more competitive. There's different ways to approach this, right?
Yeah, I think I think it solves another problem inside of that businesses have inside of HighLevel is, well, I have all of this information. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah.
So that's why we made Pulse. And any business that's got a good volume of conversations going inside of there, once they see it, it's not very common for them to say, I don't find that valuable.
Brilliant.
Even though those ones that read those conversations, because it often, like anybody else, I go through and I'll look at conversations. I'll see, how's our team doing? I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And that's a lifesaver.
Oh, yeah, you're saving time, heaps. I mean, like any tool, it makes it easier. But I think with all of this stuff, you can't fully delegate your brain to AI. You should still use it as this is a shortcut, but still for context, maybe you might want to still go into the contact and but still it saves you time. So yeah, it's a great product. Jason, mate, we're on to breaking the record here. I think we're one of the longest episodes here. not that I don't mind it. You know, we dive into a lot of good stuff here, but I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Right on, man.
I think we're gonna wrap it up because
I appreciate you having me on.
Time is precious, and there's definitely more to talk about. So we're just gonna do another episode. How about that?
Cool.
Now
we'll go over the other 12 plugins.
Yeah. Absolutely. So just wanted to say thank you for what you and Ezekiel are doing for the community. I'm impressed. This new product. You were showing it to me in Dallas, but I didn't fully get it because I was like overwhelmed with all the other cool stuff that was happening there. But I think it's definitely a great product. Now I've got an even better understanding, so I'm going to have a crack at it. We talked about the custom values, those other 3 products that you've got. I'm a fan. I'm a user. I'm also an affiliate, guys. So full disclosure. So if you guys are interested in learning more about GHL plugins, head over to highlevelexperience.com/GHL plugins. And you can learn more about GHL plugins, about the product. I'm going to throw in some free lead magnets, a couple of cool little things that might help you guys out as well. And then below the fold as well, make sure you check out our sponsors. They've got some amazing offers as well. So that's highlevelexperience.com/GHL plugins. Now, Jason, just to wrap it up, we always like to end on a strategy piece, like a piece of advice that you'd like to pass on to the listeners. We've already covered a bunch of stuff, but this is like the moment, like you've got a minute. Would it be like something that you want to pass on?
It's not so much a strategy about business, but just about life. My wife and I, we've been together for 31, almost 32 years. We've got 4 amazing kids. And this version of yourself in this business may not be the version that you will be in 5 or in 10 years. I can tell you that just because I've gone through different versions of myself. But take what you're doing now and learn as much as you can. And be okay with what you think or what you're doing may not be the best way to be doing it. But what you do and the time that you spend with your family and your wife, that pays a lot more dividends than business itself. So do business optimally, find ways to do it efficiently, and then spend as much time as you can with your family and your loved ones. And yeah, that's going to be the theme for 2026.
I love it. Yeah, that's something, realizing more and more I've been working a lot. It's something I want to change. So that's a good reminder. Thank you, mate.
Thank you. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, as well. Thank you for listening to today's episode on the HighLevel Experience podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode, then please share it with your fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help grow your agency with your SaaS or high level, please go to highlevelexperience.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.